Hi humanity, my name is Chloe, and this series is dedicated to balancing our masculine and feminine energy and how we can best utilize it across the workforce and at home. As somebody who myself is pretty in my masculine energy, I found this to be a very hard thing to accomplish in my lifetime, and it's caused me many issues with personal relationships, and I've had many burnouts at the office. I'm a tech entrepreneur and a real estate investor and professional, and I've had plenty of burnouts. And so this series is dedicated to powerful women who are out there doing your thing, and a lot of times we have to find a way to balance out our femininity in the boardroom and then back at home with the boyfriend or girlfriend, and it's very difficult to navigate, but the first step of everything is awareness. So a lot of everything that I talk about is from years and years of journaling and observation, but also in addition to that, I love John Gray because he bases almost all of his psychology on hormones, and I think hormones are a huge factor in regulating how we are, on top of how our energetic bodies are already created. So there's a big factor with that we'll discuss as well. And so before we completely jump into it, I just want to point out that masculine and feminine energy does not mean male and female. There could be a male born person with a male gender part, and he could exhibit very feminine traits, and then there could be a woman who is very beautiful and feminine who can exhibit masculine traits. And I, for example, am pretty much in my masculine. I am the oldest of 6 siblings. I also am a Leo. I am a tech entrepreneur, and I am super busy. I do 16-hour work days, and I've always kind of been a workaholic, and for me that is a very big part of my identity, my accomplishments. And so it's very, very hard to switch out of your masculine energy, especially when you need to, in cases of if you like and you attract very masculine men to date. It's very difficult. You'll butt heads a lot in dating and in relationships and in marriage if this is something that you don't learn how to really understand and navigate. Now, when men and women are able to navigate their masculine and feminine parts together, the rhythm of the relationship completely changes and it becomes absolutely amazing. And so I want to dig into, with this episode, into how to switch over into femininity right before you're about to go home from the office. So when I get up in the morning, I have a very specific morning routine that kind of gets me ready and pumped to go. And when I am about to go back home, and nowadays with Corona, working from home is so much more difficult, hence my beautiful background of nothing. But basically, it's much more difficult to get back into our femininity. And when I say femininity, again, please, feminine energy. I am not talking about a feminine female based on, Hollywood stereotypes. So let's talk about masculine and feminine energy there for a second. We go all the way back to Chinese philosophy. The yin and the yang were the essential beginning parts of, water and water, the sky, and earth, which is the female. And so in Kabbalah, which I love studying, there's masculine and feminine counterparts as well. And so a great example of that is Chachma, which means knowledge, and then Bina, which is wisdom. And Chachma is the type of knowledge that is very much knowing, factual, very lawyer type, aggressive, kind of blunt, to the point, right? And then Bina is a much more feminine knowledge, which is called wisdom, because a woman understands how to use the knowledge intuitively, how to really gain perspective with this knowledge, how to be more creative and, out of the box solutions type of things, which is not really such a masculine trait. So if you want a very quick rundown of these traits, I actually wrote them down, and I'm going to be annoying like that and read a list. But very masculine traits can be logical, competitive, aggressive, independent, very strong, very confident, very much to the point, Females are much more in their emotion, in their feeling. They're much more creative, free-spirited, open, expressive, and a lot of them are very intuitive. And if you have too much one way or the other, we could do a different video on that, but for this video, that's not the point. But for me, I had too much masculine energy, which actually made me very judgmental. It made me very impatient. It also made me very controlling and a little bit aggressive. Ask any of my, or just ask my last boyfriend, he will tell you that. It definitely comes out that way. And there are, we are always to blame for our own reaction, because our reaction is our reaction. Like, we have to be accountable for it. But if you're with the wrong partner, they could trigger the masculine energy in you or the feminine energy in you. And so that's the whole point about learning all of this, is that you can together learn to bring out the good traits in each other. Because we all have masculine and feminine, and then he has masculine and feminine. And it doesn't matter if you're dating a male or a female. It doesn't matter if you're born with a vagina or with a penis. But at the end of the day, you're governed a little bit by the hormones that you were born with. So if you were born with a menstrual cycle type of hormonal fluctuation, and if you're born with a testosterone cycle fluctuation, then they might be different. So I would look at that as well. And actually, I recommend John Gray for that, because he wrote a million books on this topic alone, and he is absolutely genius, and I love following him. But basically, for the point of this series, we're going to just talk about each of us having masculine and feminine energies, and then just working with the other one. So if I were to date a very masculine man, I would need to bring out my femininity in dealing with him. But if I would deal with a more feminine man, then I would have to just, stay in my masculine, which I don't want to. But anyways, being very masculine has its downsides for us females. And one of them is a burnout. And I've had so many burnouts in my career. And I've actually had a burnout. My last burnout was about a year ago. And I have been on a very long journey to try to figure out if I should just give up my career and just go be a yoga instructor somewhere. And obviously, there's a lot of balance, and that's the answer. So it's biohacking, neurohacking, and, using neuroplasticity hacks to get to where you want to get to. But the masculine, feminine, energetic aspect of it all was literally a game changer for me. Okay, so today's topic is how to get more into your feminine before you go home after a long day of work. Okay, you crushed it at work. You nailed those contracts. You closed those deals. The boardroom is door shut. You're on your way home now. You have kids or pets. You have siblings or parents. You have a husband or a wife, but you are about to go get into your feminine energy. So how do you bring out your warm, loving, expressive, delicious self before you go home? How do you get into your nurturing self? So I actually wrote down a few tips. So I'm not the best YouTuber. Okay, number one, and I love this one. Do not clean up right away. You both walk in the door. He's walking around casually, chilling, grabbing beer. He needs 10 minutes to relax before he can say hello, right? Okay. The second you get into your masculine, he gets into his feminine. So you need to not do that, because then you're triggering him to get into his feminine. He's in his feminine. You can't get out of your masculine because energies work that way. Let's talk quantum physics for a minute, or not. I could skip this part. But don't get into your masculine. Don't come home and then start organizing the whole house and like, where's the laundry? Why is the dishes not done? Why is all of that? Because then you end up becoming a nag, controlling, nagging, bickering, bothering, and it's not fun. It's just not fun to come home after a long day of work and you're like, oh my God, why is this not done? Why is that not done? Why is that not done? And also, it's not fun for you. Like, I don't want to care. I don't want to give a shit. Like, if you want it to be like that, leave it, right? Do you see how I'm getting in my masculine right now? You see how aggressive I'm getting? All right. So do not do that. Instead, come home, do what feels good to you. Grab a glass of wine. You know what? It's an excuse. I use it. I love it. It works for me. You don't want to drink, don't drink. You can grab something else. You can have like a cold kombucha. You can have like a cold iced tea. You can have anything that triggers to you a shift in space. And what I love to do is I love putting on lavender oil. Oh my God, I wish I had it here. I have to go get it for you. So I went back to get it just to show you this. This is the Helios lavender, and this is the Helios high CBD oil. The lavender, the cover is gone because I use it that often. It is delicious. I literally do like this. I just put it right there. And then, oh my God. And then I put it like on my touch points. And it like helps so much. I also put it on before I go to bed. So I'm a huge fan of it. I will put the link below. This is not an ad. It's my friend's company, actually. It's really, really good. So there you go. And I just feel like lavender and like relax. And I'm getting into like that kind of mode. You can light a candle. You could take a bath. You can journal. I actually prefer to journal in the morning. But I'll tell you, for myself, it's the thing that I do that triggers that change reaction. It's very like, you know, Joe Dispenza says neurons that fire together, wire together. Just with neuroplasticity, it's about breaking that habit, kind of like changing things. The way I like to change it is by the lavender, like putting the lavender oil on myself. The same company, Helix, also has this amazing CBD oil. It's a chocolate mint, and it's very light, so you're not going to fall asleep from it. Take some of that. Just there's that shift that you can have that will get you from one place to the other. I love to do a very full body yoga stretch. So by stretching out my body and by getting like deep, like hip opener, I love the pigeon. I just love doing a couple different stretches that really just gets me into like like my whole, like my blood flow is moving. And especially when you're in the office like crazy all the time, that's the best way to do it. Then the third thing that I love to do is I tell people I'm meditating, but I'm lying. I'm not actually meditating. What I do is I take my earpods, I put a sleeping mask on, have my lavender under my nose, and I listen to solfeggio, which is different hertz, like binaural beats. And it is known that the beats synchronize the right and left side of your brain, and they create synchronicity. And I like to listen to 432 hertz, which is the frequency that levels out H2O molecules in water. And so because our body is 80% water, it will level us out, so it gets rid of the anxiety. And then I set an alarm for like, let's say 20 minutes. I always wake up 17, 18 minutes. Like I always wake up right before the alarm goes off. And sometimes I even doze off, but I wake up, lavender, refreshed, glass of wine right there, pick it up, and then it's like, hi honey, then you're ready. But those are like a few quick tricks that you can do. I actually keep lavender oil in my desk at my office as well, and I am going to show it to you in a minute. I hope these little tips helped you. I really have a community on Instagram, and if you go there, please DM me, tell me topics that are interesting for you. I've been an entrepreneur for over 12 years. It's been very, 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 very stressful. And I always used to think that I just couldn't handle as much as men can. But then I realized it's a matter of shifting between your energetic forces and then being able to switch back. Because at the end of the day, the reason why we get burnouts is because we are not having a balanced life. And I am somebody that was 90% work, and then whatever was left over was for everyone else. And so I didn't make room for other things in my life that made me happy. And that's what literally killed and suppressed my entire feminine side. And so by being able to reopen up my femininity and creating more of a balance with my work schedule, I was also able then to now have a much more balanced approach. And I hope that, in future relationships, they can say that I'm also very like nurturing and loving and warm, although I have to be very careful of always going to my go-to, which is my masculine energy. So looking forward to hearing from you. Please like this video if you liked it, comment what you think, and if you have any questions. And if you didn't like it, you can also dislike it below, because this way I can know what I can improve on. And in addition, if you subscribe and favorite this and add this to a playlist, I am going to be doing a lot more on the masculine feminine energy, and I'm going to deep dive into its history, but different components in the workplace. The next topic I really want to talk about is how you can switch into masculine mode when you're going into the boardroom, and how you can manifest funds from VCs as a female tech entrepreneur. Talk to you soon. Bye.